2026 could be your best writing year ever, and I'm going to give you some things to do just that. I'm contractually obligated as a person on YouTube to make one of these something in 2026 videos every December, so here we go. I do think this is good advice though. A lot of these are things that I myself will be focusing on in the new year, and I think they will help you as well. Beginning with finding a writing community. I think that an in-person writing group or community, whether it's some kind of weekly writing group or even just a few people that you work on writing alongside, is probably the best thing that you can do to improve your writing. There's a lot of online stuff that you can do. There's virtual writing groups and critique websites and forums and whatnot. I guess this channel is kind of sort of part of all that online stuff. And all that stuff is good, but there's really no substitute for in-person real connections to other writers. Some of you are going to freak out when I say this, but believe it or not, there are some people who don't spend their entire waking life on the internet, and those people do things like participate in writing groups. Now, you are going to have to hunt to find these people. They're not as easy to find as people on the internet, but they do exist. Remember that the best writing partners you're likely to find are going to be the ones that take the most work to find. If you look in all the easy places for a writing group, like on the internet, you're going to be looking in the same places as all the other people who aren't willing to put in effort to find a writing group are looking in. My concrete recommendation, and this maybe won't work for everybody, but what I would recommend if you want to find an in-person writing group or just connect with writers in your local area is to look at a community college or a university that's near to you and see if they offer some kind of creative writing course. A lot of these places will do like adult learning or leisure learning that they just kind of offer to people who aren't like enrolled as students at the college or whatever. If you take one of these courses, it's a place where you have the opportunity to meet like-minded writers. It doesn't necessarily have to be a course that you'll get a lot out of. The instructor doesn't need to be and likely won't be some kind of super famous author. The point is just to meet and connect with writers who are close to you. I've done this in the past, and I've actually met some really great writers through a course like this. So even if you don't necessarily get anything out of the course itself, the relationships and the connections that you get out of it will help a lot. It's likely going to take a while to find some people, and you'll probably meet a lot of duds out there, but finding a real life writing group is like one of the most beneficial things you can do for your writing, and it's something that would be great to focus on in the coming year. Next thing to improve your writing in the new year, stop being so afraid of it. Fear is really, when you boil it down, just a desire to avoid consequences. Why am I afraid of running across a busy highway? Because I have a desire to avoid the consequences of being flattened against the front of a Mack truck. Why am I afraid of poisonous snakes? Because I have a desire to avoid the consequences of getting bitten. So extending this idea to writing, it could be argued that one of the reasons you don't write, or don't write as much as you'd like to, or don't do things like share your writing or pursue publication, one of the reasons that we do these things is because of fear, and that fear is born of a desire to avoid consequences. Sometimes we fear that the writing we produce won't live up to our expectations. If I'm not certain I can write this scene in a good enough way, then I'm going to avoid writing it. Having other people read your writing will invite criticism, and hearing criticism is hard, so you avoid sharing your writing because of the fear of being criticized. Being more willing to deal with the consequences of actions will allow you to overcome that fear and accomplish more, especially when those consequences are kind of silly. Like, yeah, I don't feel like working on my novel right now because I'm kind of tired, and working on it will make me more tired, but I'm already tired, so what bad things are going to happen? Being less afraid of your writing, or rather less afraid of the consequences that come with learning and progressing as a writer, is something that will help you improve in the long run, and is something that you should focus on in the new year. Next thing you should focus on in the new year is to make writing more of a priority. If I had somebody follow you and like observe all your actions and look at everything that you're doing through the run of the day, in addition to the people who are already following you around and doing that. If somebody followed you around and looked at everything you do, how you spend every hour of your day, how all of your time is structured, would they see someone who prioritizes their writing? Now, writing may not be your top priority. You may not be able to make it your top priority. It might be important to you and probably is very important to you, but I'm guessing as a normal person, you probably have like kids or a career or school or taxes or some other obligation in your life that is arguably more of a priority than writing. Stuff like that is more important than writing because if you don't do it, then your life crumbles all around you. But your writing could still technically be a lower priority in your life than it deserves to be. If you are wasting a bunch of time on stuff that you don't find fulfilling and also isn't a necessary obligation in your life, and that stuff is taking priority over writing, then that's a problem. You can say that your writing is a priority, but your actions may not reflect that, either intentionally or unintentionally. We live in a time where your time is very valuable, not just to you, but also to lots of other people. There are dozens of apps and websites whose bottom line depends largely on how much of your time they are able to absorb out of your life. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You are constantly bombarded by ads and emails and videos and marketing fluff that wants you to stop whatever you're doing to go and browse for a new set of bamboo spoons or whatever. The people who can profit off of taking your time away from you have so many new ways to try and take it, and they are getting better at taking it every single day. Again, please remember to subscribe. If you are not deliberate about how you spend your time, how you prioritize all the things in your life, then something will come up and spend your time for you. Something will make itself the priority, and that might not be something you want to be the priority. If writing is something that you want to improve at, then you need the time to do it. And to do that, you need to work to make writing a priority. Like most mortals out there, you're probably not in a situation where writing can be, or even necessarily should be, your top priority. But if it's become a lower priority than stuff you really don't care about, then that's a problem and something that you can address in the coming year. How to do that gets into time management and all kinds of other topics that I don't have time to cover in this video, but if you want, we could probably talk about that at some point. Anyway, speaking of talking about stuff at some point, I'm going to talk about the conclusion to this video at some point, which is now because we are at the conclusion of this video. So there you have it. I'd love to hear what you want to focus on in 2026 with regards to your writing in the comments down below. If you want to see more stuff like this, you can check out all my other writing advice related videos and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos 3 times a week. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.